Hi everyone, it's me, Sarah, your Christian forgiveness coach. And today I want to talk about when it's appropriate to get help from someone else when it comes to whatever it is that you're struggling with. And the short answer is anytime, every time, always. It is always appropriate. Um, so for me, life coaching is one way. Talking to friends, of course, is another. Seeing a counselor, therapy, maybe your pastor at church. There really is no right or wrong way to reach out for help, but I wanted to talk about a few of them and some of my experiences, and then maybe that can help some of you decide how to reach out for help when you need it. So for me, like I have to be careful when reaching out personally for myself, like to really close friends, because like for me, it's kind of like not my best friend's job to counsel me per se. Like my best friends are almost just really like really good listeners for me. Sometimes they commiserate, sometimes they don't, but I'm not really looking to them for life advice. Like, have you ever gone to someone you're really, really close to and asked for advice, but then you didn't like what you heard? And then sometimes you're in a place where you want to talk about what you're struggling with and you go to a particular person on purpose because you know they're going to agree with you. Totally done that. And it was just that there's nothing wrong with that. I just need to stay aware that that's what I'm doing. So sometimes I just want to vent. I do just want to have my friends agree with me, but it's not always useful if I'm ready to move forward from my pain or whatever it is I'm struggling with. So for me personally, I have found that a counselor or, like licensed counselor, mine happens to be a biblical licensed counselor. And that for me was a really powerful experience. It was different than any other kind of therapy or counseling that I had ever tried. I almost don't even know how to explain it. Like they're really good at helping find sources of my triggers. So like triggers that were happening in my marriage with my husband and ending up having to do with like a source from childhood. If you listen to my memories video, you'll get a little bit of what that's about. Default thinking, like believing that I'd grown up with hurts that I had experienced that maybe um, I'd forgotten about, but I was triggered like by something my husband was doing or saying, and I was acting out as if I were back in that original place when the hurt first happened. So that's some really good, powerful work to do. And I go back to that whenever I'm feeling really stuck and I can't like see the reason behind why I'm doing something that I'm doing that I don't want to be doing. And especially when I'm having a really hard time forgiving something and I can't figure out why. I'll do my thought work, I'll separate stories from fact, but still I'll be struggling. And that's when going and talking to my counselor can be really useful in helping me see if there's something in my subconscious I need to address. I've had sessions with him where I've literally felt like a different person afterwards. And I've had sessions with him where somewhere in my mind he literally where I literally thought I was my mom. Like I was acting like my mom, I was thinking like my mom, I was doing things my mom would do that I saw growing up, words that I heard her speak to me growing up that it affected me in such a way it was coming out in a negative way in my romantic relationship. So it's so fascinating to find that in my mind and be able to recognize it, address it, and then set it free. So another really powerful counseling experience I actually just had recently this past Sunday was in regards to my health. Like I had gotten to church that morning and my husband and I had actually gotten into an argument on the way to church in the car. I hadn't been sleeping well for many, many nights in a row. I was very much on edge. I was very grumpy and frustrated and totally taking it out on him. And when we got to church, like I would not even go inside with him. I had to stay in the car. And I even told him, I'm like, I'm going to work on this, but so I was just trying to work it out on my own. And then one of the church members, who's also a counselor there, came out and sat with me in the car for about 20 minutes. And we talked about how, you know, my health and my lifelong struggles, like with stomach aches and currently dealing with this insomnia and menopause symptoms and all of the super fun stuff that comes with that. And I told him how, like, my whole life, especially when it came to the stomach aches, I had actually allowed it. And I always told myself, I'll take the stomach ache, Lord, because then someone else doesn't have to suffer right now. So it was like I expected it and I even allowed it and I even invited it because my intentions were good, coming from a good place. Like I thought I was being sacrificial. I felt like I couldn't argue with the reality of the fact that I had a stomach ache. And I'd gone to several doctors and none of them could ever find anything wrong with me. It was always just like, oh, let's try this prescription medication or whatever. And I would find some doctors that would help me, like with my gut health and some diet stuff and things like that. But there was never really like a root cause to whatever was going on with my health. So it was a very frustrating process for decades, honestly. And this whole entire time, I can remember laying in bed in the fetal position and just being like talking to God about it and saying, like, it's okay, I can handle it. And that's what I would tell myself, like, and that's how I got through it. And then my biblical counselor pointed this out to me, that while my intentions were good, um, they were coming from a good place, that wasn't actually true. Like that was not something I had to accept. I was not meant to be ill. I was not created to be sick by my Heavenly Father. I did not have to invite that in. I did not have to accept it. I did not have to take it on. I did not have to keep believing that. And that was really powerful for me. And I was able to just like let that go. And that kind of counseling, that's different, than just like talking to a friend, especially a friend that also has health problems and you're both just kind of like, oh yeah, this sucks. And, you feel camaraderie in that kind of like commiserating with each other. And that has its place. I'm not saying that that's not important because we all struggle and we do need sometimes to just link arms with our friends and just be like, yeah, let's just kind of hold that space for each other, and just kind of like sit in the suckiness of it for a second. But this other kind of counseling, like this kind of getting like deep into my mind, he talked to me and really got me to hear Jesus's voice. He really got me to access what truly God wanted me to know about it, what he thinks about it, what he wanted me to know, what he wanted me to do. And that is a gift. And I am very grateful for that kind of counsel and being part of a congregation and a church family where, you get to go to church one morning and you can't even go inside because you're struggling so much. And someone actually comes out and helps you like that. It's amazing, right? And I feel incredibly blessed to have that in my life. It took me a long time to find it, but I did. And I'm very, very grateful for that, that church family and that kind of connection, that kind of like brother and sisterhood. And yes, very, very blessed that I found that. And then take something like life coaching. Like I didn't even know what life coaching was until a couple years ago. I had once heard about it like 10 years ago from a chiropractor I used to go to. And she was like, oh, everybody should have a life coach. And I remember thinking like, what's a life coach? Whatever. I would never pay for that. So then I got into a point in my life where I was like, I need to find something different. And so I came across a particular podcast called The Life Coach School, and I started listening to that. And the founder of The Life Coach School is a lady named Brooke Castillo. And as soon as I started listening to that, I was like, oh my gosh, so many truth bombs, like so many aha moments, and just like so many revelations and realizations about just the mind and the brain and the world and how we think and why we do things. And the things that we do, that I just went, oh my gosh, why have I not heard of any of this stuff before? Like, why didn't anybody tell me this? Before, it was just kind of like I remember thinking to myself, like, this should be a class taught in school before you even go out to adulthood. Like, why didn't I know this stuff? So now that I've been kind of immersed in this world of life coaching, you know, um, it sounded so helpful and I used it. So now I've been using it so much in my daily life for the past couple of years, and I love it so much. It's helped me so much. Not immediately, but shortly thereafter, I enrolled in the school and was like, I have to learn how to do this so I can help other people. Like that's how amazing it was for me. So in conjunction with the biblical counseling and my friends, I credit those things to being just life changing things that help me. So I think mainly the reason I wanted to talk about this today is to say that no one is immune from needing help and reaching out for help. So, you can either find the help you need or you can draw the help you need to you. Like it should never be something that's hidden or embarrassing or shameful or something that we're afraid to talk about. Like I think in, because in my very humble opinion, I think everyone needs counseling or therapy or life coaching or all three. That life coaching and therapy are actually two very different things. I was just talking to somebody the other day and they thought, you know, they were similar. They thought they were actually the same thing. And I was like, no, they're actually pretty different things. But I think both are equally important. I have found both to be equally useful and life changing. And I cannot even imagine my life without having access to both now. So I think of my counseling like as deep healing. And I think of my life coaching as tools to help me grow into the person I want to become, to achieve goals, to have the relationships that I want to have. So I'm really good at coaching other people and I'm good at coaching myself, but there are still things that I cannot see to like coach myself on. Like I still need to get coaching because I'm human. um, so I can't imagine life now without access to both coaching and counseling now. And I'm never, ever embarrassed or ashamed about it. No way. So it will forever be a part of my mental health and wellness now, forever. I use life coaching at least once a week. And currently, right now, I'll still seek that deeper counseling, every couple months. And I do the work on myself every day. And I will continue to do the work on myself every day if it means that I can be free. So I want to encourage you, if you are, to stop suffering in silence. Stop believing the lie that you are alone in your pain. Stop using the excuse of money to not get help. There are so many free resources, I promise you. I can help you find them. I am one of them. If you need help, please reach out. Okay? So I love you, and I'll talk to you next time.